are here with episode 31 of the Ricky Henderson podcast, the greatest of all podcasts, the GOAP. Super glad to be joined by Alex Jensen, the voice of the Stockton Ports and the St. Mary's Gales. Alex, how you doing, man? You doing good?
I'm good, Alex. Great name, by the way.
I know, Alex on Alex. I know.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for having me on, dude. I'm returning the favor since you were nice enough during the shutdown to come on our Ports podcast. So
I was on the Stockton Ports podcast last year. That's right. That was fun. Yeah. Well, this is episode 31. A lot of times, we dedicate the episode to whoever wore the jersey number. I'm trying to think who was number 31. It's like, I know Liam Hendricks I think Liam was 31
for a little while. Yeah.
But honestly, I don't, maybe Johnny Gomes. I don't know who else was 31.
Johnny Gomes would be a good one. I think he was 31.
Yeah.
Maybe like Gil Heredia.
Oh, I like it. That's the one right there. I like the Gil Heredia. That's a great name drop. Dude, so
long time. Well, for a while anyway. What was he? Was he like number 5 starter?
Dude, he was
part of that.
I feel like
big 3 time.
Yeah, I feel like he made some contributions. He didn't look like he'd be a big league pitcher, but he was, and he made it happen. He
was around for a little while.
Oh yeah, that's a great name, Gil Heredia. So you're in Fresno right now, right, with the Ports, right? I saw they finally snapped their losing streak last night, right? Is that right? How are they doing?
Yeah, downtown Fresno, man. We're playing in a AAA park. Obviously the Grizzlies were AAA the last few years, and they got dropped all the way down to low A, which it's a bummer for the people here in Fresno. But Fresno State really kind of runs the show out here anyway, is what I've been told.
Yeah.
But yeah, things are going well, man. From my angle, I'm just super happy to be going to a ballpark every day. Like I spent so long not doing this and doing what I really wanted to be doing, and I just feel really lucky to after the pandemic finally be able to do this, and like I said, just do what I wanted to do. But on the field, the Ports are young. They're really young. I mean, like they have like 5 teenagers in their lineup.
It's because I know they were high A for I don't know, for however long, and then this year with the reorganization they got dropped to low A, right? So
correct. Correct. So there's a lot of, I think there's 5 teenagers in of the position players right now. And I saw Melissa Locker came out with the stat at the beginning of the year. The low A West, which is the league the Ports are in, are it's the youngest league in minor league baseball.
Oh, wow.
And the Ports position player group is the youngest group in the low A West. I think their average age is like 20.2.
So you're watching like the youngest team in the country right now.
Dude, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. I mean, it's actually been a lot of fun. I know it hasn't translated to a lot of success yet. It's been a little up and down, but to watch these guys grow as the years gone along, it's been really fun so far. And I'm excited to see where a guy like Robert Poisson ends up, and Brian Buelvis, who had 2 home runs last night. It's been really fun. And Poisson, himself, we'll probably get more into the weeds in this later. He's really kind of embodied like the up down nature of an 18-year-old playing against college pitchers. They're going to face a guy that went to Clemson tonight. And Robert Poisson hasn't really played like he's playing games really for the first time this year, so it's just been really interesting to watch, but it's been a blast, man. I feel so lucky to be able to do this.
That's awesome. Oh, I didn't realize it was Poisson because Fight Club, everyone says his name was Robert Paulson, and so everybody calls him Robert. I just assume his name was Robert Poisson, but Robert Poisson. Okay, that's good.
It's a UA as opposed to an AU.
Okay. And then within the past couple of weeks, congratulations. A's fans have got to know you. You got to call a couple of games. And, we always ask the players this. So where were you when you got the call up to the bigs, dude?
You know what? Funny enough for me, as an Oakland native, I've spent like my whole life in Oakland, specifically in the East Bay. I was in Kansas City.
Okay.
I was in Kansas City when I got the call. My girlfriend got a job in Kansas City and moved out there. So, in between baseball and basketball seasons, because I also do St. Mary's basketball, I stayed out there from like, the West Coast Conference tournament right around the middle of March until I came back for the Ports, which was, I came back like the last week of April. So I got the call probably about a week after being in Kansas City and got word they were going to schedule me for 2 games. I just played golf, and they asked me for a phone call, at 11 a.m. or whatever. I think it was 11 a.m. Pacific time that morning. So
you're like, this is good news or bad news?
My round pretty quick. And I was in my girlfriend's car sitting in the parking lot of the golf course when I got the news, which was really cool. It's like it's a dream come true, man.
That's so awesome, dude. Congrats, man. That's real. I
Thank
really
you.
like your call. I love your energy. And Mark Canna did you a favor, right? He hit a home run in your first inning, right? I mean, that was pretty sweet, right? What was that experience like?
Oh, dude, it was great. And you know what was cool about it? It was a home run that you didn't think was going to get out at first. Like, it just kept
It was
carrying.
opposite field, right? I think it was
opposite field,
yeah,
off like probably the fourth or fifth stair out there in right field. And Mitch Haniger, who was playing right, just kind of kept inching back, and then he finally turned around. So I kind of got to let the excitement build a little bit, instead of just, as our buddy Ken Korak says, swung on gone. It wasn't one of those. It was like there was some, we weren't sure. I mean, it looked like Mitch Haniger was turning around to play a carom. All of a sudden it carried over. So I just kind of, it was a cool first A's home run. I called a Kyle Lewis home run in the top of the third, which was a rocket. That was a no doubter. But it was cool to have the first, like you said, in the first inning, get a Mark Canha home run, and one that wasn't. We weren't sure it was going to be out. So like I said, you could kind of let the excitement build, and then finally, you know what I mean. So no, it was cool, and I appreciate the compliments. Thank you very much.
Yeah, dude, I love it. Yeah, I mean, what was that drive home like? Were you just like, when you were leaving the Coliseum, you're like, oh my, I just called a big league ball game. What was that like?
Yeah, actually, my girlfriend Sammy, who too, working at Pac-12 Networks, she came out and surprised me. So I drove home from Visalia, where the Ports were on Sunday, and I walked in my parents' living room. They live in Oakland, and she's sitting right there, which was great. So she was in the car with me on the ride home, and she went to the game, brought a bunch of friends, and on the ride home, actually, Ray Fosse called me. And,
oh, no way. Okay.
Yeah, he was listening. I mean, I know Ray because I worked, and what made this so much, a little bit easier for me was the fact that I worked with the A's in 18 and 19 as a backup, pre and post game show host, and doing broadcast assistant stuff, basically stats for Ken and Vince in the booth. So I got to know everybody, which was great. And they already, and I did a couple spring training games with the A's in 2020, like right as the shutdown happened. But Ray called me on the drive home and said, hey, I just heard a couple of your calls. He was working TV that night. He said, I just heard a couple of your calls on the post game. And he was like, you got a future, man.
That's amazing,
he
dude.
said
That's
something
so
like,
great,
you're not going to be in the minor leagues for long, which was, I mean, that was so cool to hear from a guy like Ray, who I grew up listening to.
He's been doing it forever, man. Yeah,
he's forever.
Yeah,
and that's what was going through my mind. Like, he knows, so that really made me feel really good. And and my girlfriend Sammy, who's in the business too, and she kind of knows the lay of the land. She heard that as well, which is really cool. But that was so awesome to get a call from Ray. And then I drove down to Rancho Cucamonga to meet the Ports the very next morning, and Ken called me on
so
the
you're
way
going
down.
back and forth, like, dude, you're just like bouncing.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the Ports got on the bus after the Sunday game in Visalia, which was a day game, and drove straight to Southern California. I got in my car, drove to Oakland, did the game, and then the next morning I dropped Sammy off at the airport. Didn't get a whole lot of sleep, by the way. I mean, as you can imagine.
Yeah, you're wired.
Before the game on Monday, like, I couldn't sleep at all. You know? I mean, kind of what's going through my head is,
you're making your big league debut, dude. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. This is the opportunity I've been working for 10, 12 years to get to. So yeah, it was a whirlwind 72 hours or so.
That's awesome, dude. Congrats. And then they called you back this week. You worked again a couple days ago. I don't know, was that all the days meld together Monday. Now? But yeah, Monday. I mean, you got to call another A's. They won, right? They beat the Angels. Is that right? Or
8-5 was the final.
Okay,
and,
cool. Yeah.
My first inning in that one was a 5-run inning for the A's with the Tony Kemp. It ended up being an RBI. So
the A's just need to bring you in because you're just instant offense, basically, right? Yeah,
I guess. I mean, I'm 1-1, man. But I'm hot right now, I guess you would say. That was cool. I mean, that was my second scheduled game, so I don't have any more scheduled games as of right now. So I was scheduled for May 24th and June 14th, and but I thought I put my best foot forward, man. I was happy with what I did, and I thought it was fairly well received. So
I loved it, dude. It was great. I hope you get some more. I mean, obviously I think Ken and Vince are probably there, but hey, hopefully some other team needs somebody, and you got to call up to the big soon, dude. That'd be great. That'd be awesome.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I just, like I said, I just feel so lucky to be doing this every day and go to the ballpark and, to do 2 games, not just to make it to the major leagues. I mean, that's special no matter what, but being an Oakland native and doing it for the A's in Oakland for a home game in Oakland, I could see the seats from the booth that I would sit in with my family when we used to go to the games growing up. I mean, it's just like surreal.
That's awesome.
I mean,
it's
it's
so
crazy.
Great. Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah, because I was watching just like the highlights on MLB.com, and I was listening. I was like, dude, I think this is Alex, right? Because I wasn't listening to the radio, and that's when I emailed you. I was like, dude, I got to get him on the pod. So, dude, great job.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's so cool. And then you worked. So you're working with Vince. What's that like? How's it like to work with Vince Cotrino? Because dude, I was thinking about it like low key. He's been there for like 10 or 15 years now too. He's been like, because
you replaced Bill King.
Yeah, no, I mean, so yeah, I mean, that's been like what 15 years. 16 years now. That's crazy. But
yeah,
I mean, what's it like to work alongside Vince?
It was great. I mean, I think again, getting to know those guys, on a day-to-day basis in 18 and 19 was invaluable for me, because I'm not just going in, walking into the booth saying, "Hey, I'm Alex." Vince and I already know each other.
Yeah. He's such a he's super nice guy. He's
great,
super approachable. Yeah.
And I think what was great about working with Vince was that he knows that I don't get to see this team every single day. The Ports play at the same time. So there's going to be times where I'm lacking for some information. I'm not going to be able to know if, Seth Brown, who's riding a 1-for-24, I know he was struggling. But if the reason that he's part of the reason he's struggling is because, he got called out on strike 3. There was 4 inches off the plate. No, I'm not going to know those little details, but it's not just that
like
stuff,
remembering an at bat like last week.
Right.
Like
totally. And he just, during my innings anyway, he was able to jump in and give, pertinent information to kind of enhance what I was doing, I felt. And he was also receptive to, when I would chime in during his innings. I mean, it was great. It was great. I grew up listening to those guys. Well, I guess Vince came on when I was, in college or so after Bill King passed away. But it was great, man. I mean, and him and Robert Costa back in the studio, Townie, Commander Cody.
Dude, Townie's a machine, isn't he? Townie like never stops, dude. That guy's a machine.
Unreal. I used to be his backup. So Roxy and I were his backups on A's Cast in 18 and 19.
He doesn't need any backups, dude. No.
Well, he looked at me. He's like, "Man, you would have had a few shows by now." He's like, I guess he was. I think he got put down pretty good by his second shot. So he was like, "Dude, I was sick as a dog from my, and I still had to do the show." He was like, "Where were you?" And so no, he is a machine, man. I mean, not many guys can get out there and do it every day at a high level like he can.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. It's kind of fun to be part of this like broadcasting family, right? I mean, there's a lot of people with tenure here who've been here for a while, and I mean, you as an Oakland guy, that's probably got to be pretty cool, right?
Yeah, I mean, I remember back in 2018, my first year, when we had a meeting in the booth, and it was, everyone, like the whole broadcast team was there, and it was kind of like a pinch me moment, because here I am, and even though I wasn't on air yet, like it was like I was standing in a booth with Ken Korak and Vince Cotroneo and Ray Fosse and Roxy Bernstein and Chris Townsend. It's like, what am I doing here? I mean, a year ago, like, I was sitting at a desk, listening to these guys on the radio, wishing I could be doing that. And so now to take it from that to now being on the air with these guys, like, I mean, it kind of happened gradually over 18 and 19, hosting a few pregame shows and doing some reads for commercials. Like if you listen to the A's Cast, you probably hear my voice a little bit on commercials.
Oh, is that, like that? Okay? Is that you doing some of those voiceovers? Huh? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna go back and
read. Yeah. There's a COVID-19 read. I do all the promotional stuff for A's Cast. Like when they have Matt Chapman. Matt Chapman was on A's Cast and talked about this.
Oh, okay.
So it kind of evolved into then doing spring training in 2020. Which was awesome. Like that was so cool. And then like doing this, but yeah, dude, it's been just to be a part of that team. Like I felt like I was kind of part of the team in 18 and 19, even though, I wasn't on air in 18, but everyone there made me feel so at home. Like, I felt like I was part of the team, which was really cool. So awesome. Yeah, it's been great, man. And then getting the feedback from guys like Ray and Ken and Vince and just all those guys, it's just like, it's
crazy. Right?
You go back 5 years ago and tell me that I'd be here, I wouldn't believe you. It's crazy.
Yeah. And then And then Anson Casanaris is a friend of the podcast. It's your old friend from what, like elementary school or something like that? Or like, so you and Anson grew up in Oakland together, is that right? We need to. What was Anson like as like a second grader, dude? I bet he was crazy, huh?
Dude, he's like, I feel like, I mean, Anson
same exact person.
We're not as close, but we were pretty close, like third, fourth, fifth, sixth grade. Then we went to different high schools, and we just kind of, and he went to St. Joe's, I went to St. Mary's in Berkeley. And
I just want some dirt on Anson, basically.
You know what? I don't have a whole lot, man. Anson was really well liked in school. I mean, me and him would each wear like our jerseys all the time, to school, stuff like that. Like we were just, I think we were kind of the same type of guy, like big sports fans, and Anson loved the Niners. I liked the Niners. I mean, I know I grew up in Oakland, but the Raiders were in LA when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And then they came back and ruined the Coliseum, and I was kind of like, I just don't know. I mean, I just don't know. So when the Raiders were back in Oakland for a little while, I kind of liked both, but I've always been a baseball guy. Baseball and then basketball kind of secondary. But yeah, Anson and I, man, I think we met each other. We were 8 years old, and then we graduated 8th grade together. And then we actually went to our freshman year of high school together at that same high school. The same school had a high school that had like 40 kids in it, and we spent our freshman years there. And then we both transferred out.
That's
but yeah, man, I mean, I wish I had some dirt on him.
No, it's all good.
If I do, I can't remember. But
he's giving you a free pass.
What's up,
man? He's giving you a free pass. He's giving you a free pass. No. But yeah, I mean, so I'm assuming you were going to games all kind of growing up, right? Like when I kind of started going to games in the early 90s when they still had like orange seats, and I think we were about the same age. Like I remember like Ruben Sierra and like Geronimo Barroa, and like that was like kind of when I started going to games. I'm assuming you were around that same era, right? You've been going to games.
Yeah,
ever
who
since,
else
right?
can I pull out of there? Brent Gates. Dude, some other random A's.
Dude, Troy Neal. I don't know if you heard about
Troy Neal. That's a good one.
He has a crazy story. I was just looking him up randomly. Like he was like he went to Japan or Korea. He was like really, really good. And then he stopped paying like child support. And then he went to some island and like, I don't know. He was charged like $1.7 million in some suit. I don't know. It was like all this crazy stuff. And then he got arrested when he came back to the States. I don't know. I'm going to do a blog about Troy Neal. Yeah.
Yeah, please do. If I remember right, I think he always had a big chaw. Like, I think he was like a red man guy. Oh, yeah. He always had a big one. But yeah, I think I started going to games
around that time. Yeah.
I remember when my dad first, like, he worked at Kaiser, like in data processing, and he first got tickets in 119, and it was like right where the A's walk in. Like we had like 7 games a year. I mean, we couldn't afford a whole season ticket, but we had like 7 games a year that he would split with guys that he worked with. So everyone had like 7 games.
Yeah.
And I remember like the school Anson and I went to was year round. And he would pull me out of school every now and then. We had like a weekday day game. We'd go to the game. Like I remember going to the A's and the Orioles like in July, like on a Wednesday, But yeah, those are the names. I remember Ruben Sierra was in the paper one time. Like they took a picture of him at his house, and he had like a waterfall inside his house. I was like, oh my God.
What? Really? That's badass.
I don't know why that stands out to me. Danny Tartable. You remember Danny Tartable?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a great name.
But yeah. Dude, I grew up going to the Coliseum. I actually, when I kind of released the news the night before that I was going to be filling in for Ken back in May, I tweeted a picture of myself, like probably 3 years old, with an A's helmet on, sitting in the third deck in left field, like up by the scoreboard, and the place was packed. I mean, it was probably during the '89 or '90 season when the A's were like the best team in the league, But that's I mean, there was so much excitement.
Yeah, that's great.
My dad actually grew up idolizing Willie Mays, so he was more of a Giants fan at first, and then he got kind of turned off by Barry Bonds, and I think that's when we really started to go to A's games. And I'm a very prideful Oakland resident. I love Oakland, and that's another reason for me that even over time, like when you're younger, your parents have a big influence on you. I think over time, even if my dad had stayed a Giants fan, he's an A's guy now, but even had he stayed a Giants fan, I would have gravitated toward the A's for sure. But yeah, dude, grew up going to the Coliseum. I think the first year we had those tickets in 119 was like 97, and we kept them through probably until about 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay. So I'm assuming then, yeah, you obviously grew up listening to Ken and Vince and all that, or Ken and Bill King, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm curious. What are your thoughts on Bill King just as a broadcaster? I mean, for me, he's always going to be my personal favorite. It's going to be really, really hard for somebody to top him. I'm just kind of curious on your thoughts on Bill and just how awesome he was and unique and how skilled he was really at the art of broadcasting.
Dude, super. I mean, I think, especially in Oakland, and really it should be in the Bay Area. I think that as I've gotten more into the weeds in broadcasting and really kind of studied the profession, and especially locally, I really think the A's guys are overshadowed by the Giants guys unfairly.
The Giants guys are really good though. Yeah,
they're
they're
phenomenal.
Great. Yeah,
they're phenomenal.
Yeah,
but I think in the Bay Area, we are super lucky to have two great. I mean, John Miller is a legend. Radio broadcasting. Dave Fleming is one of the best at what he does. Dwayne Kuiper, Mike Krukow are obviously legends. But because those guys are so great, and because the Giants kind of have the hold over the
and
Bay
just
Area
their brand
is
bigger.
Exactly. Ken Korak and Vince Cotroneo and Ray Foss, all those guys get overshadowed. And it's not to disparage the Giants guys at all. They are I mean, John Miller's a Hall of Famer, in my opinion. I mean, Dave Fleming, like I said, is all over the place, Krug and Kite. But yeah, and then when it comes to Bill King, I think he's really revered in Oakland, especially in the broadcast booth. It's the Bill King broadcast booth. There's still a picture of Bill King in that radio booth, and I grew up listening to Bill King.
Yeah,
and like you said, super unique. I mean, he had a unique voice. He just had a unique way.
His voice was so. Things. Yeah, his voice is so.
It's not a traditional broadcast voice. It wasn't super deep, but he had like a life about him, and just the way that he described things. I remember, this one will always stick out to me, the Hatterberg walk-off, which of course is chronicled in Moneyball. He had a description for the crowd because I don't know if you remember in that game, but the A's got up like 11-1 or something like that.
11-1,
and then the Royals came all the way back to tie the game.
Yeah.
So, I guess Bill King was kind of living and dying with the crowd, which would seem like a Bill King thing to do. And when Hatterberg hit the home run, his description was the crowd comes back to insane life, which is like a super simple description, but it just hits the nail right on the head.
Yeah.
Because if you're a fan, you have the highest of highs. A's are going to win 20 games in a row. We're up 11-0. Then the lowest of lows.
You're like, oh my God,
Kansas City scored like 11 in a row.
Yeah.
And then you're back to insane life, which I thought was a great descriptor. And just, I don't know, like his talent to be able to do the A's, the Warriors, and the Raiders for I don't know how many seasons he did it. I think it was only a handful. But I remember people always say about Bill King is his best sport was basketball.
That's what Ken said too. Yeah, Ken. Or even Ken even went as far as like honestly, baseball. He didn't want to say his war sport, but he's like, dude, his football and his basketball were like next level, like so good.
Yeah, I guess one thing I don't really remember about Bill because I wasn't like when he was broadcasting, I was still focused on being a player. Like I pitched at St. Mary's College, and
I didn't realize that, dude. That's cool.
Yeah,
awesome.
I pitched in college, and so I was still focused on being a player when he was broadcasting. So I didn't really get to listen to him as closely as I now listen to some of these other guys. But yeah, and that's what Ken said is so crazy that baseball was his third best sport because I went to the Baseball Hall of Fame during the lockdown. My girlfriend's family lives in New England, and we ended up driving to the Baseball Hall of Fame. We were out there for a month or so in the summer, and he's in the Baseball Hall of Fame, man. He's a Ford Frick Award winner, which is like the best of the best of the best of the best are there, And if that's his third best sport, dude, it's same. And it's a shame that it was. After he passed posthumously or however you pronounce that. I don't know if that's the right way. I should know that.
I think it's posthumously. I think it's posthumously. I think.
Is it really? I think that's right. I should know that considering that I get paid to talk and pronounce things correctly for a living.
Yeah, but that word, I mean, hopefully you don't have to say that one too often,
Oh God, knock on wood, man. So it's a shame that he wasn't alive to be enshrined because, he's the way I've heard him talked about, he's one of the most, colorful
just like a unique guy.
And he lived on a boat in Sausalito, I guess, and was super into the opera and like all this stuff, like just all this stuff about him. But then that kind of trickles into Ken and what Ken and Vince do, and I just think that their radio broadcast and their TV broadcast too. I think Glenn is great. you know, and I think that Glenn's really grown into that role too, in my opinion, you know, and he's really kind of.
And then there's Dallas just
and then there's
mucking up
Dallas,
everything. Yeah, I love Dallas.
I think,
yeah, Dallas
you know what?
is
He's
hilarious.
a great analyst, man.
Me
he
too.
He really has added something to the TV broadcast.
No, for sure. Because you can tell he just loves baseball so much, you know, like he just loves it. And he has a super deep understanding that, you know, that I don't, you know, that unless you play the game, you probably don't have. And he's witty. He's just so witty, and you know it's hilarious. Yeah, he's like,
no,
so
you're
quick.
witty is exactly right. Like you said, I mean, he has a deep understanding of the game. The way he communicates it is like fun. You know, I mean, it really like I think it can draw in a casual fan and help them understand a little bit. You know, his perspective as a former professional baseball player. You know, but like the A's radio broadcast for me it's super close to home, in particular because I worked with those guys for 2 years, and you know, I just think Ken is one of the very best at what he does. And I think the same of Vince. You know, I think they're a great broadcast team, and like I said, to start this whole point, you know, unfortunately, I think they're underrated because of the, like you said, the reach that the Giants have in the Bay Area. And I think if people who enjoy listening to baseball on the radio listen to those two guys together, you know, I don't think they'll regret a second of their time. I really think that they're up there with the very best in the business.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, sometimes I listen to other broadcast teams and I'm like, oh, like, yeah, the A's are doing pretty good. I mean, other broadcast teams are super dry to me, but
dude, we're super lucky, man. We're super lucky.
Yeah. And so yeah, you mentioned St. Mary's. I mean, I grew up in Moraga. You know about Bianca's? You must know all about Bianca's, right?
Bianca's. There's like a battle between. So have you been to Marucci's in Lafayette?
I thought, isn't it in Walnut Creek? Or
is it maybe? Yeah, it's like right on the border there, but right by the freeway.
Yeah.
So I think you're right. I think it is barely in Walnut Creek.
Yeah.
So there's like, so which one do you like better, Bianca's or Marucci's?
Well, I'm biased. I grew up in Moraga, so if I didn't say Bianca's, I would probably get destroyed by my friends. So I have to say Bianca's. But yeah, probably go Bianca's. But Marucci's is really good, dude. Though. Marucci's is really good.
They're both really good, but with St. Mary's people, I think, you know, there's like two camps, kind of the Marucci's camp and the Bianca's camp. Like which one's better? And I think people like both. You know, everyone loves both. But I feel like in recent years, if people have swayed more toward Marucci's, I've been steadfast with Bianca's, man. I used to live in that part of Moraga when I was in college, and we used to go to Bianca's all the time. I mean, it's cash only, but you know. Great spot. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Still, I was just playing frisbee golf.
Turkey and avocado.
Yeah, I go with the grilled chicken and jack. I love that.
I've heard that one's good.
Yeah, I was just out there like a couple of weeks ago playing frisbee golf, and I had to stop by for a sando. You got to do it when you're in Moraga, you know.
Got to, man.
Something about that shredded lettuce. And then so you played baseball there? I didn't realize you were a pitcher.
Yeah.
That's cool, dude.
Yes.
How many years did you play? What was that? Were you guys good? What was that like?
We were okay. We were like my senior year, we were 500, which was, I mean, I was there for 2 years. I went to DVC for 2 years and pitched there for a couple of years.
Is that WCC like it's like the same kind of league, like Pepperdine, LMU, all that kind of good stuff, or is it different? Is it same as basketball? Because it's pretty much
same as basketball.
Yeah, pretty much. I know St. Mary's basketball, but you know, I don't know much about their other programs. So yeah.
Well, shoot, man, we got a lot of alumni in the big leagues right now. Corbin Burns with the Brewers went to St. Mary's. And Anthony Gonsolin, Patrick Wisdom, who was the National League Player of the Week a couple weeks ago, he went to St. Mary's.
Really?
There's
Dude,
a few
you know
of them,
what?
man.
I was reading. So John Shea wrote this amazing autobiography, Ricky Henderson. He was considering going to St. Mary's because it was close to home. If he would have went to college,
way.
Yeah, but he was considering St. Mary's and Arizona State. I was going to, which is funny because I went to ASU too. So either way, I would have been all about Ricky.
There you go.
But no, I thought that was kind of funny, but because his mom wanted him to stay close to home, but he just ended up going pro. But yeah, there's a chance Ricky could have gone to St. Mary's too, dude. Yeah.
God, that would have been cool. He's my favorite player of all time. I mean,
me too. You got to be.
You know, I mean, gosh, it's so great. Yeah. So that guy invented swag in baseball, man. I mean, he really did with the collar pop, you know, after the home run.
Yeah, his little snatch catch. He's talking about his snatch catch.
Snatch catch. Yeah, he's so great, man. St. Mary's, like when I was in college, it was like San Diego was like one of the best teams in the country.
Yeah.
And Pepperdine was really good. And that was right when Gonzaga really started to become a good baseball program. And now they're like, you know, I mean, I think they were the only team to make a regional out of the West Coast Conference this year.
So that's a pretty high level. That's a good league then, right? I mean, it sounds like pretty solid competition. I mean, you guys getting big leaguers and stuff like that. That's awesome, dude. Yeah.
For sure, man. Yeah, it was a good league. I mean, we got a couple of cool trips out of it. We went to LSU when I was a junior.
Oh wow, what's Baton Rouge like?
It was cool, man. Dude,
the stadium is unreal, right? Like that.
Yeah, we played at the old stadium, which was kind of cool. The old Alex box. They had like 6,000 people there, and they gave us after the Saturday game, they had like a cookout for us in the parking lot. So we had like jambalaya and frog's legs and like all this like Louisiana.
Dude,
food.
I had some fried crocodile one time. It was all right. It tasted all right. It was fine.
What did it taste like?
I know everybody says it tastes like chicken, but it honestly just kind of tasted like chicken. Like if you told me this is a little fried chicken bite, I'd be like, oh, okay, whatever. But it was a little fried crocodile bite. Whatever. It was fine.
How do they catch those things? I mean, that would terrify me.
Just with their bare hands. They're different. They're different types of folk. They're Cajun folk.
Exactly right, man. So some of the best jambalaya I've ever had, though. Obviously.
Yeah, I get a mosquito and I'm pissed. Yeah, but
but that was cool. When I was a senior, we went down and played Miami. And they had Jamiel Weeks and Yonder Alonso.
Damn.
And Yasmani Grandal. They had like 4 first-rounders on that team.
Damn. Jamiel Weeks. Man.
Yeah, I faced Jamiel Weeks. I walked him.
Oh, wow.
And I was just, what's kind
of
cool
hilarious. That's cool. That's a good story. I like that.
On tape somewhere. I mean, I have it on video.
Yeah. Was it a close at bat? Did the ump just miss the call or what?
No, I had him. I think I had him 1-2, and I had a good changeup that I threw a lot to left-handed hitters, and he was batting left against me. And I think I had him 1-2 or 2-2, and we got to 3-2. He like fought off a few pitches. I didn't really have strikeout stuff, but I could throw my changeup for a strike kind of whenever I wanted to. I was kind of one of those guys. Not a great slider. I was probably 87, 88. But it was 3-2, and they were crushing us. But I was pitching well. Like I came in for the last 3 innings on Friday. I was like, all right, 3-2. He's expecting a fastball. I'm going to throw him a dirty changeup, and I just like sailed it high and away and walked in. And what was actually kind of cool too was when I did the game on Monday, Max Stassi was hitting third. I faced him too.
Okay.
When I was doing college summer ball, and he was on Team USA. They came up to play like a super series up in Canada, where I was playing, and I got to start against Team USA when he was the catcher.
Whoa,
which was cool. So
dude, he was like player of the week last week or something, dude.
He was,
like,
yeah.
I'm like, what? It's like the same Max Stassi? Like what?
Yeah, Vince brought the point that he was hitting third in that lineup, which I thought was kind of funny.
Dude, and like Max Muncy's like freaking incredible for the Dodgers. I'm like, what's up with all these former A's farmhands here, dude?
No kidding, man. No kidding.
And I was looking on your LinkedIn too. You were the JV coach for De La Salle for like 10 years or something. That's crazy. 10 years? That's a long time, man.
Yeah, 9 or 10 years. I mean, I was working in the corporate world for a while, and working for a Nestle ice cream distributor, like in their back office doing like logistics and stuff. So I would get there early, and then I'd get to leave by like 2:30 or 3. And so, so a guy I played for and 2 guys I played for actually when I was in high school, like summer ball and stuff. One of them got the head job at De La Salle, and he's like, "You should come help me out." So I was like, "All right." And I love baseball.
Yeah. I mean, you're outside, tell, whatever. You're like, yeah, it's
exactly.
Nice, right?
Yeah, outside. And what's been kind of funny actually is doing games with the Ports. There's been the San Jose Giants have a couple guys that I coached.
Really?
One of them was
That's
Kyle
weird.
Harrison. Yeah, who was their 3rd round pick this past year.
Did you get to go down to the field and be like, "Yo, dude, I'm calling this game now," or something?
Not yet, but I did get to say hi to both of them. Like I hung over the outfield fence during batting practice and said hi to Kyle Harrison, who was the Giants' 3rd round pick out of De La Salle this past year. And they have a first baseman. Well, he's kind of like all over the place now. He's a corner outfielder, first base. His name's Armani Smith. He also went to De La Salle, went to Santa Barbara, UC Santa Barbara, and then the Giants drafted him, I think, in the 7th round. He's tearing it up, man. The Giants are supposed to come back to Stockton starting on the 29th, like in a week and a half. He may not be there anymore. He's breaking, which is fun to see. I mean, it's hard that I have to like call it like it's a bad thing, So with the sports broadcast, when I'm side, I'm like, yeah, all right, Armani,
Yeah, you're like, oh, yeah, coach that kid. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah,
That's
it's cool, man. It's kind of come full circle. Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of A's fans are super excited about Tyler Soderstrom. He opened a lot of eyes in spring training. It looks like he kind of just fit in and was able to. He's 19-year-old kid. Had to sit out basically just coming out of high school, basically. How is he looking this year? And have you been able to talk to him? Like, I'm just kind of curious, like, how's he doing? How's he looking? How's he developing right now?
He's impressive, man. I mean, he really is. I mean, the bat play is like, a scout told me the other day that, if you're familiar with the 20/80 scouting scale, he said it's a 70 bat, which is like, that's like an all-star bat.
Yeah.
It's foul line to foul line, man. And he started to come into some power recently. Let's see. He's got 5 home runs now, which he just got passed up. Brian Buelvis, who's another top 15 prospect, and Lawrence Butler were all tied with 5 going into last night's game. Buelvis hit 2 last night, so he's got 7 now. But it's foul line to foul line, man. I mean, he really has a presence, an idea of what he wants to do. And it's just hard to believe watching him that he was in high school last year. If I can put it that way. Now he's going through the grind right now, like tonight's game 39 of playing every single day. And he's playing like every day. I think he's had 1 day off so far. He's not behind the plate every day.
I was going to say, is he strictly catcher? Because I heard some people are saying, like, dude, he might, like, if you want to get him in, you might have to put him in the outfield, might have to put him at first base or figure out another position for him, because you just don't want to limit his bat at this point, and Sean Murphy's probably going to be there for so long,
So, he's been playing first as well.
Okay.
So they're moving him around a little bit, but they're giving him every chance to stick behind the plate. And he's athletic back there. He moves well side to side. He's got a good arm, a quick release. He's a good kid, man. I mean, his dad played in the big leagues. He knows what to expect, kind of, I mean, I'm just kind of getting to know these guys for the first time.
Yeah. I mean, they've only been there like a month and a half,
few days.
Right?
Yeah. But I've interacted with him a little bit because, in minor league baseball, we have to wear a lot of different hats. So I've kind of been PR as well. When people want to set up interviews, they kind of go through me. So he's been great, man. I mean, he's a mature 19-year-old. I think he knows what's what's coming.
Yeah.
And like I said, man, the bat it's impressive to watch him. I mean,
that's what Melvin said. Melvin said, like, it's just his confidence is like off the charts, and he just seems like really composed for a 19-year-old,
Yeah, he's also super competitive, really competitive, which is fun to watch. I mean, and that's what I really enjoyed about being in the A's organization, getting to know some of this stuff. I mean, Lawrence Butler told me the other day, he's the Ports first baseman, left fielder. He's got a really intriguing skill set too. Maybe an under the radar guy that people may not know about too much, but and he was saying, Lawrence Butler is his name. He was a 6th rounder out of Atlanta in 2018, I think it was. But he's a guy that I would like, I just keep the name in mind. He's not on any of the top 30 prospect lists, but I just keep his name in mind. He said, what he said to me was, I feel like I fit in really well with the A's organization because the A's want team guys. And I feel like I'm a team guy. I'm completely bought in. Like, and that's what this clubhouse is. Like, I mean, it's easy to go out in the minor leagues and, be in it for yourself because it's a business now, right? I mean, these guys are all competing against each other to move up the ladder.
Yeah.
But just the feeling that I get being around these guys, I'm not around other teams, so I can't really compare it to other organizations, but they're all kind of pulling for each other. I mean, there just seems like a really tight group. I mean, it kind of mirrors the A's big league clubhouse, what it's been over the last 10, 15 years. And, when I asked Lawrence about this, like, I was like, hey man, like, I know you've been struggling, you've been hitting balls hard. This was like a month ago. And he hit a seed out to the left center field gap, and the left fielder made a great play with runners on base. And he was like, yeah, man, the most frustrating thing was we were struggling to score. We were struggling as an offense. It wasn't about Lawrence Butler. It was about we, which I thought was really cool. And it's rare in the minor leagues. And I think that goes up and down this lineup from Tyler Soderstrom to TJ Schofield Sam to Robert Poisson to Junior Perez to Brian Buelvis. All these guys are concerned about the team. And Rico Bronya, who's the Port skipper who had a 9-year career in the big leagues, like, he's a perfect personality to have a young team like this. I mean, it's been really cool. But Soderstrom, get back to your, I know I got off the rails there, but
no, that was going to be my next question. Was just like, dude, who else? Like, Soderstrom's pretty much, I don't honestly pay too much attention to the minor leagues. So Soderstrom's like the big guy. I know I was like, who are some other players that we should be keeping an eye on in Stockton, or somebody who's kind of, maybe outplaying their expectations, or who are some other people we should be taking note of down there?
Yeah, well, I mentioned Lawrence Butler. I mean, he's kind of an under the radar guy that I think you can pay. He's got a super interesting skill set. He's not on any of the top 30 lists, but he's got power. He's a big left-handed hitter. He's got power. He can really run, which he's like 6'3", 205, 210. He can really run. And not only can he run, he's a really good base runner. Like, he's super aggressive. He's got power. There's swing and miss, but he doesn't chase very much. He can play first. He made a great play in left field last night, scaling the wall. A few more names that people might be a little bit more familiar with. Brian Buelvis is really impressive. He's still putting it all together. I think he's 19, but he had 2 home runs last night. He's got 7 on the year. He plays left, center, anywhere in the outfield, really. He was at the A's alternate site last year as an 18-year-old out of Columbia. He's been really impressive. Let's see who else. Junior Perez is who the A's got for Jorge Mateo.
Okay.
And this guy's got all the tools of a major leaguer. Power.
Is he infielder or what position? Outfielder. Okay.
Outfielder. Arm. Yeah. Really good routes and jumps in the outfield. Like the whole package is there, but the hit tool is the last piece to come. And he's only 19. And he's got 4 hits, I think. Yeah, 4 hits in the series and through the 2 games in this series so far. But he's just been up and down. And it's the same thing with Robert Poisson. Who the A's signed for.
That's another guy I heard of
$5 million bucks. Yeah, $5 million bucks out of the Dominican as a 17-year-old. And it's hard. It's the most important thing to remember if you're just scanning through box scores is that this guy is 18 years old. I think he's the youngest player in the league, actually, the youngest position player in the league. And he's playing in games for the first time. Like one thing I didn't realize before this season is that the circuit in the Dominican is a lot of showcase style baseball. So these guys aren't really playing in game situations a whole lot, especially in their later years. So Poisson, who was, 2020 was going to be a big developmental year for him. He was probably going to be in Arizona playing games, the rookie league for the first time. Well, he went to the alternate site, so he's still playing like showcase style baseball, sort of like facing his own guys over and over again. So now he's going through the grind as a switch hitter, mind you, playing shortstop every day for the first time against college pitchers. Like I said, they're going to face a guy who went to Clemson tonight, facing guys from Cal Poly and guys who know what they're doing, guys who are going to flip you a 2-0 breaking ball, 3-1 changeup. Like he's probably not seeing that stuff in showcase baseball a whole lot in the Dominican, not to mention the fact that he's 18 years old. So he had some stride. I think he started 4 for 46 or something like that. But shoot, man, starting 4 for 46 and we're 38 games in. He went into last night's game hitting 202. So he's really adjusted, man. And it's been fun to watch. I mean, it's been up and down a little bit. Like, he'll get hot for a little while and then he'll go back to swinging and missing a little bit. But he hit his first home run last night, 408 feet to right center field. And that's not really a part of his game necessarily. Talking to the Ports hitting coach, Francisco Santana, really good actions at short. He's got a cannon for an arm. But again, I think he's at 18 years old, just like a lot of these guys, learning to be consistent day in, day out, day in, day out, and just doing it every single day, and kind of adjusting to the way that, because the book is starting to get out on these guys now. So guys are trying to just, execute a scouting report. And so I think, for all these young guys, TJ Schofield Sam is another one. He's 19 years old. He's shown a little bit of power, corner infielder from Canada. He's struggled too at times. But for all these guys,
overall, the Ports are, I looked, they're like 14-24 or something like that, right?
Yeah, 14-24. Yeah. They are in the North is like the San Jose Giants are stacked. I mean, they've got Luciano there, who's the number 16 prospect in baseball or something like that. I mean, the Giants have a really talented lower level of their minor league system. And the Southern Division isn't quite as good. And Fresno actually came in first place, and the Ports have split with them this week. So it's just been up and down, man. I mean, they were 7-9, then they lost 6-7, then they won 4 in a row, then they lost 9-10, and then they won last night. So it's just been, as you would expect from a young team, it's just been a little bit up and down. The pitching is, I mean,
but then again, like winning isn't the most important thing for these guys, right? It's more about development, right? I mean,
yes, but I do think that in the A's system, they do value winning as kind of a skill set. If that makes sense. Like they want these guys they want them to develop. I mean, that's first and foremost. Like, if one of these guys has trouble with sliders down and away and chasing, they want to see that adjustment over time. And after you get 100, 200 at bats, making that adjustment. I think that's most important for sure. But I do think that the A's, unlike some other organizations, do value winning in the minor leagues. I mean, you hear all the time about how Olsen and Chapman and Pinder came up through the minor leagues winning. And when they got to the big leagues, it kind of changed the dynamic in the clubhouse. Yeah. So I think there's something to be said for that too.
Yeah. And speaking of winning, I mean, the A's have won 6 in a row. Looks like they're, honestly, for me, it's ever since James Caprillion kind of joined their rotation about 5 weeks ago, it kind of just seems like everything's kind of settled now. Like people, I don't know, and yeah, I don't know. Like I think their offense is clicking. Like, I know it's always hard to win in the Bronx, but I feel like they're primed to maybe go on another win streak here. Obviously, they're probably going to lose Friday because I said that, but like they've already won 6 in a row. But dude, they could go on another little tear here. I wouldn't be surprised if they, do some damage here in New York. What do you think about the way that they're playing right now? And just, Ramon is back. Yeah, I mean, what do you think about the way the A's are playing right now?
They're playing great, man. I mean, like you said, it starts with Vince and I were talking on Monday night about how right now the difference between the A's and the Angels, and the difference between real contenders and teams that are, like, for lack of a better term, pretenders, it's the pitching. And the A's have the starting pitching. Like Dylan Bundy didn't make it out of the 3rd inning on Monday night. Grip and Canning, those are two guys.
Dude, the
Bundy
Angels,
and Canning,
they spend so much money on their offense, but it's like, dude, if you don't have pitching, it doesn't matter. Like,
it doesn't matter. I mean, the pitching wins. That's it. And that no matter what happens with the baseballs, no matter what happens with the bats, steroids, foreign substance, whatever, pitching always wins. That, like, it always comes back down to that, So, but you look at the Angels and you look at guys like Dylan Bundy and Griffin Canning and Andrew Haney, who I think the Angels are really counting on, especially a guy like Bundy, who after, a great 2020 year has really stumbled out of the gates. I think he's 1-7 in 2021 so far. I mean, the Angels are really counting on him to be that front of the rotation guy to stabilize everything. And to your point, like, the A's have found that guy in Chris Bassett. They were patient with him, and he really earned his way to become that number one guy. You have Chris Bassett, and then you have a guy like Sean Manaea, who's now holding 95 deep into starts.
Yeah, it's crazy,
and
dude.
You just go 1-5,
dude.
Man.
Frankie is like looking like Frankie from a couple
19,
years.
Was it?
Yeah, I think it was 19 before the whole PD thing. But no, like Frankie's just throwing darts, like 97, 98, like darts on the corner.
Yeah.
They're fun to like. They're a really fun staff to watch. Cole Irvin. Yeah, Cole Irvin's like, just kind of moving around the zone. Like, he's really fun to watch. And then Caprilli, like, he's a bulldog, dude. Like, he'll get himself into trouble, but even with bases loaded, it's weird. It's like I'm not worried. It's weird. It's like he can get himself out of jams.
Well, yeah. And that's the thing, right? I mean, I think there's certain things you can't quantify. You can't pick up through spin rates and velocities and what have you. I mean, certainly you have to have that stuff to play in the big leagues, but the things you can't quantify are qualities like that, right? Chris Bassett has that too, where it's like, they're just competitors, man. They're just out there to compete. And I think, especially when you have a starting pitcher setting the tone that way, and I think it really falls into place with the rest of the Oakland rotation, right? I've gotten more of that from Manaea this year, in my mind, like, after his complete game in Seattle, really showed some emotion.
Yeah, for sure.
And you kind of want that balance in a pitcher between, being calm and pitching with fire. And I think, like you said, I mean, I think that's a great point, is that the A's guys have found that balance. And I think you're right. I mean, Caprillian's kind of taken it to the next level. The way he started his career, loading the bases in Boston with nobody out at Fenway Park, much less, and getting out of it like with limited damage. And he's been able to do that a few times now. I mean, it's kind of just, I think that has a trickle down effect to the rest of the club.
Yeah.
Then the offense. I mean, Tony Kemp has been,
dude. He's been like, dude, ever since that Superman catch, I feel like he just like he's just been like a whole different. Yeah, it's crazy, dude.
But it's just player. Like. I mean, I heard Townie say on the post game the other day that this is like one of the tightest teams that the A's have ever seen, like in the clubhouse. But on the field, like,
that's what
it does. It really does, man. And Tony Kemp has kind of given them that, like, Tommy La Stella type of at bat, gritty, fouling off a lot of pitches, getting on base in any way he can. Mitch Moreland was like the perfect addition. I remember going into the offseason, I heard Dave Feldman on his podcast talking about how Mitch Moreland was a guy that the A's could potentially target after making the deal for Andrews, who's also playing phenomenal, by the way. I know he got off to a bad start.
Dude, it's great. Dude, he looks like a complete – I thought his career was over, but he's, like, fine. Yeah, he looks good.
But, dude that's the thing, man. He's back to doing what he did when he was really good with the Rangers. Like, going to right field. When he gets a pitch to drive, he drives it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
because that was the thing that worried me when he – at the beginning of the year, like, yeah, he was hitting, like, 140, but it's also, like, his exit velo wasn't there at all. Like, he was just hitting ground balls. You couldn't even get the ball out of the infield. But now he's just driving doubles. He like just barely missed that homer by like a foot, that was
well, he had that back injury, right? And like, if you've ever woken up with like a stiff neck, Like I think it's the way I think about it. I've never had a back injury, but I think the way it kind of works is like the reason it takes longer to come back. Like if you wake up with a stiff neck or you hurt your back, movements that you take for granted every day, you really feel, right? And maybe that's part of the deal with Elvis. Like it just took him a little while to get over that. Now he's got finally feels like his legs are underneath him. Like he's in his core, like there's so much rotational movement with the swing. And he's another guy, just like Tony Kemp, that's going to grind out at bats. That is the type of guy the A's have been missing in their lineup really over the last handful of years. And now that the fact, that Olson's hitting for a higher average, I mean, it's just, like you said, it's just kind of all come together.
Yeah, Chapman is he's really streaky, but right now he's like streaking in the good direction. So it's like, I think, and it's funny. Jed is kind of cooled off too, but I don't know. Yeah, I just feel like now that Ramon's back, like, dude, I don't know. I just feel like right now there's a lot of momentum behind this team right now.
Ramon's so cool, man. Ramon's got like that factor, doesn't he?
Dude, that inning, like, it's so funny. It's like by this, like that second inning, like he just comes back, robs a homer, and then hits a homer like immediately, like by the second inning. I'm like, okay, yeah, this guy's really good.
And not only is he good, he's such a fun player to watch.
Dude, he's my favorite player to watch on the team for sure. Yeah, he's my favorite player.
He's appointment television, man.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think the A's are in a really good spot right now. And who knows what I mean, there's been plenty of scouts at our games, and I think they follow these guys all year round just to keep tabs on them. But I mean, the A's, I don't think that it would be crazy to think that they'll add a bullpen arm or two.
Yeah, I think they need to add a bullpen arm, and then I do like Seth Brown, but I still think maybe get another outfielder who can preferably hit from the left side. Like maybe some veteran who's been there before, kind of knows what to do. But I don't know. Seth Brown's all right, but this recent slump that he's been in makes me think, like, I don't know if you want him up in a crucial at bat in the playoff situation, but I don't know, maybe you do. I mean, maybe he could, but it would be cool to see. I don't really know who's on the market, but like some sort of veteran who's been there and like, has some decent numbers. But also it's like the minor league system's pretty bare, so I don't know what they trade to. I feel like they don't have much trade capital,
but we've seen Billy Beane, man, like when he thinks this club has a chance, he'll do something.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, and he's not afraid to take a big swing, which is, even though like, the Lester thing didn't work out with Cespedes, like, I think as a fan, you still have to look back and respect that he made that move, thinking that he was giving his team the best chance to win a World Series.
Yeah.
Like, and he's never afraid to do that, which is him and David Forrest, which is, I think, why it's kind of fun to be an A's fan, when a big reason why it's fun to be an A's fan in that respect when the A's are contending is
pull something out
they're not afraid to make their team better, man.
Yeah.
But I mean, to your point, like think about if a guy like Urias Familia was available again, like slide him into that bullpen and just move, and just lengthen it a little bit. You get JB Wendelken back. Now I think
I'm on the Sean Doolittle train. I think they should bring back Doolittle. He's putting up pretty solid numbers for the Reds, and like he's only signed through the end of this year.
That's a good call.
He knows what Oakland's all about. They need another lefty, I think, because all they have is Diekman basically. Jesus is really struggling right now. They don't have any. I mean, Kolarek can't get out of AAA. They just released Gudwan, so they don't have any lefties. I think they need a lefty.
That might be a good call. The NL Central is pretty crazy. I remember, if I saw that right, I think the Reds are like in third place, but I don't know that anyone's going to catch the Cubs. I know the Cardinals are really struggling.
Yeah, I think the Cardinals lately they have been, but like I looked it up a couple of weeks ago, and the Reds were like in fourth place. I was like, oh, maybe they'll be sellers at the deadline, and if his contract's up at the end of this year, like maybe they'll get like Grant Holmes or something from the A's. I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea. Dude, Dalton Jeffries is destroying right now. He's doing really good. And
he is.
AAA,
He is. Yeah. And that's one thing that the A's do have. They do have some upper level pitching depth. Like, I don't know if they have a projected top of the rotation guy besides Luzardo.
Yeah.
Which I don't think they're not gonna trade him anyway.
Yeah, and AJ Puck is struggling still, but it's crazy.
Yeah. No, that's tough. That's a tricky one too.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if there's any untouchables. I know that the organization really likes Soderstrom, so I don't know that he's going to be going anywhere.
Yeah.
Just because of the potential impact that. But again, that's just who am I? I mean, I just call the games, so I have no idea. Yeah. I have no idea. But I do think that there will be at least one move made. I think the most pressing need, like you were saying, is a bullpen arm, and especially a lefty. Doolittle would be a great fit. I would love to see John Doolittle back.
And I just think it'd be fun to see him back and getting the stadium going. That'd be really fun. I'm sure him and his wife would love coming back to Oakland too. I'm sure they would.
And for A's fans, I think he holds a similar place in A's fans' hearts to where Ramon Laureano does. I think he's just I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's just like an it factor.
Yeah, there's a special thing for him for sure. Yeah. I feel like people probably just dust off their jerseys. They probably still got them,
Totally. You better wear 62 again, man.
Yeah. And I mean, so we're recording this on a Thursday, and then tomorrow the A's start a 3-game series. I'm really excited to see Caprillion in Yankee Stadium. He was drafted by the Yankees. He came up through the Yankee system. I think I saw some tweets Yankee Stadium's going to be at full capacity for the first time all season. So I don't know, dude. I think this is going to be a gnarly game tomorrow. I'm really excited to see how Caprillion responds.
I agree.
So
I agree. And he's an easy guy to root for too. I've just, my predecessor here in Stockton, Zach Beyruti, who I think a lot of A's fans know who he is.
Yeah,
he's with Reno
now. Yeah.
Zach's the best. I'm actually staying at his house during the season in Lodi.
Oh, okay.
Really? Yeah. We're good friends. He does Pacific basketball. I do St. Mary's, so we got to know each other that way. But we're really good friends.
Yeah.
But he was telling me about that Caprillion's the nicest guy, And I haven't met James, but he just seems like a great dude, and all the injury history he's been through, and he's an easy guy to root for. And I heard Townie say it on the postgame the other day. I mean, he's not going back to Vegas. I think he's pretty much cemented himself as a big leaguer now.
I think so too. I mean, he's legit, and he's Chapman's best friend. Every time on Instagram, I see him and Chapman are always together. They're like buddies. Yeah. So
that's great, man.
All right. Well, dude, that's pretty much all I got for you. I don't know if you want to talk about anything else. This is a fun chat, though. It was great to talk and catch up, man.
Oh, yeah. No, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. I've been overwhelmed with the support that I've gotten from friends and family and just the A's community over the last 3 weeks. It's just it's such a cool community to be a part of, man. I just, whoever's listening to this right now, I really, if, people have reached out to me on Twitter and whatever, I just really appreciate the support. And like I said, I'm a proud Oaklander. I'm a proud member of this A's community. And I just, like I said, it's a cool community to be a part of, and it's cool. I feel right at home, man. I feel right at home. So thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks.
Catching up with you, man.
Yeah, and you the Ports, you guys broadcast your games online, right? I saw you sending out some Twitter links and stuff like that, so people can hear you if they ever want to listen to the Ports, right?
Yeah, we're on iHeartRadio. If you're in the Stockton area, we're actually on the AM airwaves, Fox Sports AM 1280 in Stockton. Okay. But you can listen to it wherever you are on iHeartRadio. I tweet out links. I try to do it every game. Sometimes I just run out of time and, I can't do it. But I try and tweet out the lineup or a tidbit about the game and the link to listen. So if you're not following me on Twitter, I'm at AJensen86. If you want to listen to sports games, man, again, I mean, Brian Buelva's top 15 Soderstrom's the A's top prospect, and some of these other guys. It's a fun young team. So
yeah, and the ball. And I've never been in that ballpark, but everybody, I keep saying I need to go down, and maybe this summer is the summer I actually go down there and check it out, because everybody says Banner Island Ballpark's awesome. So I gotta go check.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, come out. We're full capacity when we get back home. A week from Tuesday on the 29th against the Giants. So, and I think our home schedule is pretty backloaded. We played 3 of our first 4 series on the road, and I think 5 of our first 8 on the road. So we're going to have a lot of home games deeper into the summer. So come out, man. Let me know when you're coming out too.
We meet up and meet in person. Yeah, for sure. That'd be
for
cool,
sure. Man. And anyone listening, I mean, if you want to come out and check out the baby A's.
Yeah, because there's a lot of A's, there's a lot of Oakland fans who go down there to make that trip and everything, right?
And what's cool about Stockton too is I feel like it's an A's area. I feel like it's that's A's country out there, which is cool.
That's
so
cool. Awesome.
But it's only an hour drive from Oakland. So please come out. Nice warm nights there on the Delta. The water's right there. 360 concourse. It's a great ballpark.
Awesome, dude. Well, Alex, thank you so much for the chat, man. I really appreciate it. And hopefully you get some hopefully they call you in to pinch hit a couple more times this season or something, man, because that was great. So
that would be a dream come true. Alex,
yeah,
thank you, man. I
yeah. Alex
appreciate
on
the love.
Alex, dude. Appreciate it.
Exactly.
All
I
right,
appreciate
congrats,
you having
man.
me on, man. I appreciate the love, the congrats, and the compliments. It really means a lot. Thank you.
All right, dude. Thanks, man. We'll see you soon.